Hello and welcome back to this video. As you can tell from the title, this video will be all about how to find craft fairs. I've had a few people DM me on Instagram asking me to make a YouTube video on just this, like how to find local craft fairs, like the process of applying, all of that. So I'm hoping to keep this pretty concise and give you my best tips in a short amount of time. So I wrote everything down. And if you're new here, if this is the first video of mine you're watching, my name is Jessica. I have a small business, our Cheery Corner. I post behind the scenes running my business. I also incorporate daily life into my videos. So if that's something you're interested in, feel free to stick around and subscribe. And you can also find me on Instagram and TikTok as well. Everything is linked below. But I've been doing markets for about a year and a half, I believe. I've done indoor markets, outdoor markets, like street festivals, craft shows, high school craft shows. I've done a variety of different markets. I feel as though I have pretty good experience with booking them and going to them and just like filtering out the ones I like, the ones I don't like, which is all part of the process that you're just gonna figure out as you go, like which ones you like, the demographic of people that like your products and what fairs you should go to fit that demographic. But today I wanna focus on how to find the markets and how to apply. And the applying part is pretty straightforward, but I'll still mention it and talk about it in case you aren't aware of how that works. So I have everything written down on my phone. I took some notes beforehand and let's just get right into this. So there's a couple places that you can start with just finding the craft fairs and like becoming aware of the ones that are going on locally or even not locally, just like in your state, within other states, depending on how far you want to travel. Personally, I haven't traveled more than 2.5 hours for a fair, and we only travel that, we as in my fiance and I go to the markets together. But we only travel that far if we really think the fair is worth it and worth our time and gas money, obviously. But yeah, a couple places you can start. So there's actually a website called fairsandfestivals.net, and I'll link it below, and it's free to use. You go onto the website, you put your state in, I think you can put like within how many miles, and you can just search for upcoming events near you or like within that range of miles. So that's a great place to start, just to become aware of the events that are going on. And then from there you can go to their website, you can find their Facebook page and look into the event a little more. You can look at photos from past events that they've held and see if it's like your demographic that is showing up to the event. I'm laughing because I'll be like scoping at the images and like looking at the age and gender of everyone. But yeah, that's actually super helpful to look at photos. And then on the website, there will usually be instructions on how to apply. Typically, you just fill out a form online and you'll have to submit photos of your products. Sometimes they want you to submit a photo of your booth setup. If you haven't done an event yet, you can do like a mock setup in your house, take a photo of that and submit it. That usually is fine. So yeah, you'll either just apply through a form online or they'll have you email the event coordinator directly and ask for an application. But like I said, those instructions are usually just on the website or on their Facebook page. Sometimes they have a link to it on their Facebook page. So that's pretty straightforward. They'll walk you through the application process. And then of course there's usually a fee to attend the event. Usually not a fee to apply. I think there's been like 1 or 2 where I had to pay like $5 or $10 to apply, but usually it's free to apply, but there's a vendor fee. So typically for me, I will pay between $50 to $250 for an event. And then events that are longer than 1 day, so like 3 days, it's usually a higher fee. So that's something you have to consider, is how much you want to pay, how much you think you can make from an event, and if the fee is worth it. I recommend if you're starting off to look for events that have a smaller fee, just because you might not be getting as many sales right off the bat as you will further down the line. So yeah, fairsandfestivals.net is a great place to start. Another great place to start is Facebook. So on Facebook, you can go to the groups tab and look for local vendor groups. It's so specific, but they exist and they're super helpful. So we're in one, I think it's called the New England Craft Fair or New England Vendor Review Group, something like that. So once you've found some local vendor groups, you'll want to ask to join them. A lot of them you don't just join, like you'll have to get accepted. The one we're in, we had to use a personal account to get accepted, so you might not be able to join it with your business account. And then once you're in the group, it is so helpful. There's people who will give reviews on different craft fairs. They'll talk about their experience at different craft fairs, which ones they really like, the demographic, just like all the information you want when considering a craft fair, and you can ask questions in there. People will respond. So super helpful way to gain information on craft fairs and more insight into which ones might be good for you and your products. So those are the two primary ways that we find events to attend. But another good tactic is to go onto an event's website, and a lot of the times they will post their list of vendors that are going to be at the event, and then you can go to the vendors' socials. So like by vendor I mean other small businesses. So if you go to an event's website or Facebook page and they have the list of all the small businesses that are going to be there and be vending, you can then go onto Instagram, type in one of the businesses' names and see if they've posted about other events they've attended, and don't be afraid to DM them and ask if they liked whatever event you're asking about. So yeah, networking online with other small businesses and vendors is super helpful. And then once you start attending events, networking in person is also a really smart thing to do. Just, you know, making friends with your vendor neighbors, you get to talking, you can ask what other events they enjoy going to, ones that they found to be successful for their business. Consider the products they're selling, if they're similar to you, if you think you'd do well at the same event. But yeah, it's super helpful. We've gained a lot of information on local events that we didn't know existed that are really good and have been really successful for us just by talking to vendors at other events that we go to. Another thing I recommend doing when you're starting out to kind of gauge what type of events you do well at is to try a variety. So like I was saying, we've done street fairs, we've done high school craft shows, we've done just local craft shows, like craft shows in the park. And for us, we found that street fairs are the most successful for us. They're really highly trafficked. The demographic is right where we want it. So definitely give different types of events a try. For example, don't just do high school craft fairs and then feel defeated because you don't make as many sales as you'd like. Give other types of events a shot, and you'll probably be surprised that there's specific events that you'll do better at than other events. So my biggest tips when finding craft fairs is first finding them, and then trying to dig a little deeper to see the demographic that's going to be there, the amount of people that might come, so the traffic that they usually bring in. They'll usually share that information on their website, like how many people come every year, how long the craft fair's been around, how well marketed it is. Craft fairs that have been around longer are usually more known in the community and more people will go. Same with how well marketed it is. If it's better marketed, more people know about it, more people will probably come. Another thing to consider is time of year. The biggest time of year for craft fairs and street fairs is summer, fall, and winter. Winter's really good because you have the holiday ones. Summer's amazing for street fairs because it's nice weather, people are outside. And then fall is also really good because people are outside, and a lot of people do early Christmas shopping during fall as well, I found. So again, if you're starting out, I would recommend looking honestly between May and December for craft fairs. I wouldn't really try to do January, February, March craft fairs because it's just slower. People aren't spending as much money, and obviously where you live, that might be a little bit different. Down in Florida, they might have craft fairs throughout the winter that are amazing, but here in New Hampshire, that's where I am, we don't really do that many in January, February, and March. But yeah, those are my biggest tips. I know it wasn't a super long video, but I just wanted to get this information out there and help people out who are starting off with doing craft fairs. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments and I will try my best to get to everyone who has a question. You can also message me on Instagram if you have any questions. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope this was helpful. I have other videos on my channel as well about craft fairs, how to have a good pop-up booth, how to just have a successful market in general. So check those videos out if you'd like more information. I'll link them below as well. And I hope to see you in my next video.